Hey everybody, I hope you all are doing well and welcome back to Michael's Matters. And oftentimes when we think about the debate of how to fix Social Security, it's framed in a way that we think that there are really only two options, which is either to cut benefits or raise taxes. And although it is true that these are options, what usually actually ends up getting done is a third option, that is to do nothing and let it keep going down the rickety financial path that it's on. But one nonpartisan group, the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget, or as the cool kids call it, the CRFB, put out a report that highlights the consequences of what will happen to the benefits of folks on Social Security benefits. So whether that's Social Security Retirement, the largest group, Social Security Disability SSDI, Supplemental Security Income SSI, and survivors and spousal benefits if nothing is done. And their conclusion is not pretty. And we also talk about why are so many retirees now beginning to shun the proverbial retirement boomtown of Florida for other places in the country. Now, this is Michael's Matters, and before we get to it, if you like these videos, if you find them interesting, if you find them helpful, or hey, if you at least find them useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe because it really does help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that. But also because you get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. All right, now let's get down to the video. So first up today, in the not so distant past, when someone thought of places in the US that people wanted to go to retire, they may have thought about Hawaii, or they may have even thought about Arizona, but one place they most certainly would thought about is Florida. It has been known as Heaven's Waiting Room for basically as long as anyone can remember, but post-pandemic, with the influx of digital nomads who can work from anywhere and wealthy people fleeing the cities, and a huge amount of folks from the baby boomer generation up and leaving their jobs and heading out to retirement, retirees who had moved to Florida for the friendly tax climate, the sunny weather, and the accommodating lifestyle are beginning to leave the state at an alarming rate. One of the key reasons that these retirees are leaving the state is because the recent jump in house prices as a result of so many people moving to Florida. In fact, over the last 5 years, housing prices on average have jumped by 73.5%. Or to put a dollar amount on that, the average house price in Florida has increased by $150,000 since before the pandemic. Additionally, the retirement communities that are such a feature of Florida have been full and will remain full as Americans are living longer and fewer spaces are opening up, meaning that new retirees who are seeking to get in are having to wait on a wait list for many years to be able to get into those communities. Also, with regards to housing, for folks who can find housing in Florida, the cost of insurance, especially as a result of things like hurricanes and rising waters and aging infrastructure, have gone up astronomically, making housing in Florida no longer tenable for many new retirees who hope to move there. And lastly, and maybe only second to housing, which has taken the shine off the glow of Florida, is the effect of inflation that has had specifically a dramatic effect on the state. Now, inflation has affected everybody in the country, wherever you are, and luckily it is beginning to subside. But when we look at the inflation numbers on the news, or when they're calculated for something like the COLA, or cost of living adjustment for those folks on Social Security, what we see is only the national average number. The truth is that inflation is local, and Florida is one of the localities that had a consistently above average inflation rate affecting it for the last couple of years. To put a specific number on this, when we look at the most recent CPI report, that is the inflation report put out by the good folks at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the national average for inflation was only at 3.2%, which is down over the last 6 months from where it had been previously between that 7 and 8% range last year. But in Florida, for the month of June, in Miami or West Palm Beach or Fort Lauderdale, that area, the inflation rate is being clocked in at 6.9% right now, which is more than 100% more than the national average. What this means is that for those retirees who live in Florida, basically they are having to pay more for literally everything, and some folks are just not able to afford it anymore. Also, just in case you were wondering where retirees are going now, they are going to other states that are less expensive, like North Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. Next up, I want to talk about a study from the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget, the CRFPB, which says that if nothing is done, if the stalemate in Congress over how to best fix Social Security's financial problems just runs its course, by 2033, the average dual Social Security household will face $17,400 in cuts in their benefits. This is because right now, Social Security has a litany of problems, but the biggest is a demographic problem, as it wasn't designed to handle such an influx of retirees, and also a diminution of the numbers of workers paying in that are required to keep the program afloat. In the most recent OASDI Trust Fund report, that is the Medicare Trust Fund, they are anticipating that by 2033, benefits for folks on Social Security programs could be cut from anywhere between 20 and 30% due to the lack of funding. With the trust fund spent down, Social Security would not be able to pay out benefits to retirees until enough not yet retired folks had paid into it on a month-to-month basis. The CRFB estimates that the shortfall will be at $17,400 for the average dual benefit household, but that number would change for a single person, would go down to $13,100, which is still quite a lot. And also for lower income households, it would be at $10,600, or even for higher income households who have their benefits slashed by as much as $23,000. Again, this is if nothing is done to salvage the way that Social Security benefits are created. So overall, when I'm thinking about all the retirees who are fleeing from Florida, primarily for economic reasons, it really does make me think about how these types of shifts could have a dramatic effect on the shape of a nation, politically, economically, socially, and that is maybe a topic for another day. But the reality is that Florida is not unique in the problems it's facing, primarily high housing costs and inflation costs, because it's the same situation in other pandemic hotspots that retirees move to, places like Texas or Ohio or New Mexico. It'll just be so interesting, really, especially in these next elections, to see how these shifts in people will affect the country. Secondarily, the $17,400 shortfall the CRFB is anticipating, if there's nothing done with Social Security benefits, that's a real amount of money. And 2033 is not that long away from now, but it goes to show that there is a cost for doing nothing. Politicians in Congress view the change to Social Security in any direction as detrimental to their political careers, and it probably is, but doing nothing and getting elected is leaving the program in a place where the 70 million people who rely on it right now, and that many, many more who are going to rely on in the future, could potentially see 20 to 30% decreases in their benefits as a result of them doing nothing. The thing is that once this happens, once those benefits drop off, they will likely never ever go back up. And people in later generations like Gen Z and millennials and whatever the generations that come after that, they're going to pay the same higher taxes into Social Security, but they're just going to get even less out. And that's not fair. All right, so that's it for today's Michael's Matters, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video, or at least found it interesting or helpful, or maybe even useful. And if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really does help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that. But also because you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. So for Michael's Matters, I'm Michael, hoping that you take care of yourself, take care of others, and have a happy, healthy day.